The strongest man in the world is the loneliest.
You've been told that respect is earned by being the loudest voice in the room. That influence comes from having the quickest comeback, the most data. This is a lie crafted by the noisy and the insecure to keep you playing their game, a game you are perpetually losing. You feel it when they talk over you, when they ignore your point, leaving you feeling invisible. You are left with the stinging realization that your voice doesn't carry the weight it deserves. What if the most powerful response is to say nothing at all? The person who is truly in control, the person who is dangerously respected, is the one who has mastered the weapon of silence. In this video, I will teach you the psychology of strategic silence. We are not talking about being shy or passive. We are talking about being deliberate. We are going to dismantle the programming that makes you rush to speak and install a new operating system based on the laws of power and perception. You will learn that silence is not empty space. It is a canvas on which you paint authority. By the end of this, you will understand that the most powerful person in the room is not the one who talks the most, but the one whose silence makes everyone else lean in. Section 1. Critical caveat: the cultural context of silence. Before you deploy any weapon, you must understand the battlefield. The meaning of silence is not universal. A strategist who ignores this fact is a fool who will be defeated by his own tactics. In many Western cultures, such as the United States or Germany, silence is a vacuum, an awkward void that creates psychological pressure. It can be read as uncertainty, disagreement, or weakness. The techniques we are about to discuss are calibrated for these specific speaking environments, where silence disrupts the expected flow and creates leverage. However, in many Eastern cultures, like Japan, and in some Nordic societies, silence functions very differently. These are listening cultures. Here, silence is not a void, but a sign of respect, thoughtfulness, and wisdom. Pausing before answering is a mark of having given the question careful consideration. What might be a power move in New York could be interpreted as respectful listening in Tokyo. Therefore, be a strategist. Know your audience. The methods we will explore are designed to leverage the discomfort that silence creates in low-context, westernized settings. Using them in a high-context, listening culture may not produce the same effect. Acknowledging this distinction isn't just a disclaimer. It's your first lesson in tactical social intelligence. Section 2. The 3-second fortress: mastering non-reactivity. The bedrock of silent power is the death of reactivity. It is the simple, yet profoundly difficult act of pausing for 3 full seconds before you speak. In any conversation, your brain is wired for social combat. Someone challenges you, you defend. They insult you, you retort. This reactivity is a weakness. It signals to everyone that you are not in control. Your emotions are. You are a puppet, and the world has its strings attached to your ego and insecurities. The Stoic philosophers taught that it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. When you react instantly, you are a slave to the stimulus. You are giving the other person power over your emotional state. The 3-second fortress is your declaration of sovereignty. When someone finishes speaking, especially with a challenge, you do nothing. You hold their gaze, maintain a calm, neutral expression, and you count in your head. 1, 2, 3. In those 3 seconds, you short-circuit your own impulsive, people-pleasing programming. This window of time allows your rational mind to catch up to your emotional brain, giving you the space to choose a response instead of vomiting a reaction. You project unshakable confidence. In a world of instantaneous chatter, someone comfortable with a pause, seems grounded and in control. Insecure people rush to speak because they crave validation. A person who can hold silence demonstrates they are not afraid of the space, and therefore not afraid of the other person. This quiet confidence is magnetic. Most powerfully, it puts immense, unspoken pressure on the other person. They have thrown the conversational ball, and you have refused to catch it. Those 3 seconds feel like an eternity to someone expecting a reaction. They start to second-guess themselves. Often, they will rush to fill the silence themselves, clarifying their position, softening their stance, or revealing information they intended to hold back. They end up negotiating with their own anxiety because your stillness has become a mirror. This is not a tactic, it's a form of mental training. Master this, and you cease to be a pawn in conversations. You become a player. Section 3. The information vacuum, making them talk. Once you've built your fortress of non-reactivity, you can use silence offensively. The information vacuum turns the other person's discomfort with silence into your greatest intelligence-gathering tool. The principle is simple. After someone makes an incomplete or ambiguous statement, you respond with attentive silence. Most people are not disciplined. They leave conversational threads dangling. The average person's instinct is to jump in and ask for clarification. This is a mistake. It lets them off the hook. Instead, when you hear, "There's just no way we can meet that deadline," your most powerful response is to hold eye contact, nod slowly as if considering their words, and remain completely silent. This creates a psychological vacuum. Your silence acts as an unspoken prompt. Explain yourself. 9 times out of 10, the person will begin to talk again, not because you asked, but because your silence compelled them to. And what they say next is often pure gold. Them. "There's just no way we can meet that deadline." You. Silence. Steady gaze. Slight nod. Them. Feeling the pressure. "I mean, John's team is behind on their part, and we're worried about integration testing. If we had their deliverables, maybe." Your silence took you from a dead-end problem to a specific, solvable issue. You didn't argue or interrogate. You created a space, and they filled it with crucial information. This is devastating in negotiations. Make your offer, and then shut up. State your price, and then wait. The tension to break the silence falls entirely on the other side. They will feel an overwhelming urge to respond, and their response often reveals their flexibility. A word of caution is essential. The line between a strategist and a brute is intent. If your silence feels cold or judgmental, it can cause the other person to shut down. Your nonverbal communication is key. Your posture must be open. Your eye contact curious, not aggressive. Your silence should feel like an invitation for them to elaborate, not a punishment. The intent is not to intimidate, but to understand. If you are finding these techniques valuable, and you are ready to stop being a pawn in conversations, subscribe to the channel. The strategies we're discussing take practice, but they will fundamentally change how people respond to you. We have only just begun. The next techniques are even more potent. Section 4. The echo chamber, the art of minimal encouragement. The echo chamber is a more subtle cousin of the information vacuum. It pairs silence with minimal verbal encouragers to guide the other person into revealing more. It is the art of becoming an invisible conversationalist, making the other person feel they are brilliantly navigating the discussion, when in reality, you are in complete control. The technique relies on a psychological principle. People are desperate to feel heard. When you provide just enough feedback to validate this feeling, without injecting your own opinions, they will continue talking indefinitely. These are your tools. The single word. Prompt. Interesting. Go on. And? The the short rephrase. Repeat their last few words as a question. If they say, "And that's why I'm so frustrated," you respond with, "Frustrated?" The empathetic noise. Simple sounds like or a slow, deliberate nod. These are not opinions, they are echoes. You reflect their thoughts back at them, which makes them feel safe and validated. They drop their guard. Imagine a colleague complaining about a new policy. "Colleague, this new system is a complete disaster. It's just wasting everyone's time." You, leaning in slightly. "Wasting time?" Colleague, "Yes. I spent 2 hours on one report. Frankly, it was a terrible decision to roll it out without proper testing." You, Thoughtful pause. Colleague, "And I know the finance department is just as unhappy. Someone told me the VP who pushed for this got a huge bonus, even though it's a failure." With 2 non-committal utterances, you have gathered intelligence on a system failure, internal dissatisfaction, and political gossip. You have contributed 0 opinions and created 0 conflict. You are a ghost, gathering intelligence while leaving no fingerprints. Use this to map out the entire emotional and political landscape of a situation before you ever plant your flag. Section 5. Silence as a boundary, the unspoken no. Now we turn to silence as a shield. It is one of the most powerful ways to enforce your boundaries and shut down disrespect without escalating a conflict. When someone interrupts you, simply stop talking. Don't try to talk over them. Just cease speaking and look at them with a calm, neutral expression. Your sudden silence is more jarring than raising your voice. It creates an awkward social vacuum that highlights their rudeness for everyone to see. The pressure is on them. This works equally well for insults and passive-aggressive jabs. Someone makes a snide remark, hoping to get a rise out of you. Instead of biting the hook, you meet their comment with a flat, unwavering silence. Hold their gaze a moment longer than is comfortable, then turn your attention back to the matter at hand, as if they haven't spoken. This is devastating for 2 reasons. First, it denies them the emotional reaction they crave. Bullies feed on the chaos they create. Your non-reaction starves them of their narcissistic supply. Second, your silence communicates a powerful meta-message. Your comment is so insignificant that it does not even warrant a verbal response. You have dismissed their entire relevance. It is crucial to differentiate this from the abusive, silent treatment. The silent treatment is a prolonged, manipulative campaign of punishment used by the emotionally bankrupt to make someone feel isolated and worthless. That is not our way. Strategic silence as a boundary is an in-the-moment response to a specific transgression. It is temporary and targeted. It's not about punishing the person. It's about protecting your dignity by refusing to engage in unproductive behavior. You are not giving them the silent treatment. You are giving their poor behavior no treatment at all. Section 6. The glacier stare. Calibrated emotional scarcity. This is an advanced technique that ventures into the territory of dark psychology. The glacier stare is the physical embodiment of emotional scarcity. The core principle is rooted in economics. Scarcity creates value. When your approval and emotional energy are freely given, they are worthless. But when you dispense them with surgical precision, they become a prize. This is not about being cruel. It is about being strategically detached. It is the difference between a warm, babbling brook and a formidable, silent glacier. The glacier stare is the practice of consciously restricting your emotional output. It is a calm, unreadable, and slightly distant expression you adopt in high-stakes situations. It communicates that you are observing, analyzing, and judging from a position of untouchable authority. Your face is not angry. It is neutral, impassive, and utterly in control. This taps into the Machiavellian principle: it is safer to be feared than loved. In this context, fear is not terror. It is reverence. It is a deep-seated respect, born from an awareness that you are not easily impressed or manipulated. A leader who is too friendly loses authority, but a leader who is reserved and unreadable creates an aura of power. Their rare smile becomes a reward. Their slight frown becomes a cause for serious concern. Their reactions have weight because they are scarce. In a negotiation, while the other party is speaking, you adopt the glacier stare. Your stillness makes them feel like they are under a microscope. This creates a subtle intimidation factor. They become more focused on gaining your approval than on winning their argument. However, be warned, the chronic use of such a technique on an individual can cause genuine psychological distress. This is a precision tool for high-stakes moments, not a default personality. Section 7. The last word. Winning by not speaking. In any argument, there is a primal drive to have the last word. People will drag out conflicts for hours just to satisfy this urge. The truly powerful person understands that the real last word is not spoken, it is held. Imagine an argument has reached its end. The other person, fueled by ego, fires one last salvo. The amateur responds. They feel compelled to refute the final point. This is a trap. It reopens the argument and signals you are still engaged on their terms. The master does something else. They receive that final salvo with complete and utter silence. They let the other person's final words hang in the air, unanswered. The speaker is left alone with their own declaration, which, without an opposing force, begins to sound hollow or even foolish. Your silence sucks the energy right out of their statement. By refusing to engage, you are implicitly stating, "This conversation is over. I have decided it is over." You are not just ending the debate, you are asserting your authority to be the one who ends it. This is more psychologically potent than any counter-argument. Again, this is not the abusive silent treatment. This is a conversational full stop. It is an acute, in-the-moment tactic to terminate a specific, unproductive exchange. Once you have delivered your silence, you can physically leave or simply pivot the conversation. The message is clear. On that subject, I have nothing more to say. In letting go of the spoken last word, you gain something far more valuable: the unspoken authority of the person who decides when the battle is over. We have reforged silence from a symbol of passivity into an arsenal of power. We have seen how the 3-second fortress builds a foundation of non-reactivity. We've learned to create an information vacuum that compels others to reveal their truths, and to use the echo chamber to gather intelligence like a ghost. We've learned to use silence as a shield for our boundaries, and to deploy the glacier stare to create value through scarcity. Finally, we've understood that the true last word is the one that is never spoken. These are not tricks. They are tools of psychological leverage. They are designed to give you control, not by being louder, but by being more deliberate. But remember the critical distinction that separates a master strategist from a petty manipulator: intent. The silent treatment, used to control and inflict emotional pain, is a sign of weakness. We use strategic silence not to harm, but to protect, to create space for reflection, to de-escalate conflict, to command the respect you deserve. This is about self-preservation and the projection of self-respect. Your challenge now is to begin. Pick one technique. Practice the 3-second pause. Notice how it feels. Notice how others respond. True power is not theoretical. It is built through practice. Silence is not empty. It is full of the answers that people are too loud to hear. Master it, and you will not only be respected, you will be the calm center in the storm, the one whose quiet presence speaks louder than 1,000 shouting voices. If this video has armed you with a new perspective on power, show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing. Let me know in the comments which of these silent weapons you will deploy first. And if you want to continue mastering the art of social dynamics, watch the next video on your screen about the psychology of charisma. Until next time, stay calm and stay in control.